Hi guys, today I want to talk to you about work-life balance, a much used word, and I'm really keen to hear from you guys what it means to you. So Ben, what does work-life balance mean to you?
Work-life balance for me it's about getting things right. It's sometimes we just get so busy or we just throw everything at the career that you burn out, or you come home and you don't feel like you rest, or you go on holiday for 2 weeks and you come back and you feel so well rested, but then you're out of the loop. It's work-life balance for me is about finding a way to make both work. If you need to throw in the extra hours to get something done or give it your all, that's grand, but sometimes if you need to step away and take care of things at home or just recharge your batteries, having the ability to do that, and using whatever techniques you can to make that happen.
What about you, Lind?
Yeah, well said, Ben. I think for me it is quite similar, and it is getting it right between the amount of focus that you put into both aspects of your sort of life. We have our personal selves, which is our family, our friends, our hobbies and all of that, and then we have our professional selves. And a lot of times, especially with hybrid working over the pandemic, it was very difficult to separate our professional and our personal sort of lives and ourselves. There was a lot of overlap, and a lot of that came down to people having to work from home out of their living rooms and bedrooms and kitchens, and families right behind you, and it was very hard to separate what was going on between your home life and your professional life. And it's really important to for me to have the boundaries in between both sides of ourselves to make sure that we can perform both of those parts of our lives to the best of our ability.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly it, isn't it, Lind? I think it's about being at peak performance in your personal life and in your work life, and have these two seamlessly flowing together, which is what you're trying to say, Ben. I guess, do you find it difficult to balance your responsibilities between work and life, Lind? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, sometimes. I think over the past few years it's gotten a little bit easier because we've been practicing that, but before COVID I'd never had to work from home before, so it was very easy to have your commute and come home, and then you're doing your family life. And when we had Blackberries and our phones weren't constantly pinging with work things, I found it was a lot easier. So for a while I must admit I did find it quite hard, and it's taken a while now to really work out what I need to do for myself to set those boundaries and make sure that I am prioritizing my needs depending on what my personal needs and my professional life needs. And there's a lot of listening to podcasts and talking to people like you at work, and really just sort of searching out ways to make that balance happen. I'm finding myself more able to cope with the responsibilities of home and work much better now.
Yeah, you made an interesting point there about taking some time out for yourself. So for me, it's the morning when I get up and do my makeup. I've got half an hour, and I really enjoy that process of clearing my head, not thinking about anything, but just getting myself to a really calm state for the day. And I find that makes such a difference, because you set the day up feeling you've had some time for yourself, you had some quiet space. So Ben, how do you manage your work-life balance?
I was quite fortunate early on in my career to have a hybrid and then a remote role. So I was used to this whole working remotely and working from home thing years before the pandemic happened, and I found that it was a struggle back then, but then when it became the norm for everyone, I was able to seamlessly get into that. But then shortly after the pandemic I became a dad, and all of a sudden it went from, oh, there's no one else in the house, it's fine, to I've now got 2 young ones running about. And that I found was quite difficult to find that balance, because if I'm in the house and they're in the house, I want to go see them, I want to spend the time with them, but you've got to separate out. But I'm quite fortunate that I have a separate office space at home. I'm not working off the kitchen table or in the living room, and I really appreciate that. So that does make things quite easy For me, at times, I'm able to shut the door
Yeah.
and have that separation. But it's still remembering that at lunchtime, get out of the desk. Don't eat your lunch at the desk. Go for a walk. Or at the end of the day, whereas you take half an hour at the start of the day, I take that at the end of the day for it. And for me, it's go out into the garden, water the plants if it's sunny, or even just sit down and play the piano for half an hour, pick up the guitar. Just do something that is completely different to what I've been doing at work during the day. And it acts as that barrier. And then, work's done, you're refreshed, you can then go and give everything you've got to home. But there's times where maybe you need to do a little bit more. And I think we're really fortunate that, the way we handle work-life balance here, we're able to say, okay, you can finish, at the end of the day, spend time with the family, have your dinner, children go to bed, and then, I can jump back on and finish other things I need to so that I know I'm coming in the next day at a good starting point. But that's not every day. It's not the expected. It's just when it's needed to be done. And that there's a lot of focus on, work-life balance should be, you get half a day off here, or you can go to the dentist there. But that's only one side of it. The other side is having the ability to put that extra time into work when it's needed, but it not being the expected or the norm.
That's a really good point, that flexibility and that sense that you're in control. So let's chat about any tips that you have for other people to manage their work-life balance. Linz, what about you?
Yeah, so as you can see, for everybody, it's different. So for you, it's the morning, and you, it's the evening. And for me, it is all about those boundaries and taking the time out during the day, those mini breaks. So for lunch, I have been terrible really at taking a lunch, and I want to just work through my lunch because you just want to get stuff done. But I'm really starting to prioritize taking that break. We do get an hour, that is built into the schedule. So really trying to take that time, and also finding hobbies for me was really, really important. So I loved playing tennis before the pandemic. I started to play netball, and I loved my Sunday nights playing netball. Then COVID sort of put that all into disarray with scheduling, and then we picked up tennis because it was the only thing you can do. And now tennis has become just a huge part of my life, and it's my outlet. And I really make sure I do the things that I enjoy doing: dog walking, playing tennis, having a laugh with the kids, not just telling them to do their homework and put their clothes away, but spending the time with them that's actually positive, having spa day with my daughter, or, listening to my son play guitar, going through his music catalog, really finding those moments and embracing them. And that for me has helped so much in terms of switching off and resetting my mind.
That's great. I think as a strategist, I like using models for things. So I always draw a matrix. It says urgent and important. Everything that's urgent, that sits in the urgent and important quadrant, is stuff that I need to do. Stuff that sits in the important, non-urgent quadrant is stuff I need to try to do today. All the other stuff will move around. Sometimes they'll move in those top quadrants, but it's about starting your day with a sense of priority, and also being able to say, look, I've done what I needed to do today. Now I can switch off and do something else. And I guess that just gives me that sense of control to respect my work day, but also my personal day. So, Ben, any tips that you can give?
Yeah, I'm really big on reflecting how things have gone. And sometimes it can be so easy to get caught up on what's not gone well, on what's not worked. And that can really weigh you down, especially if, say, you're new to a remote role or a hybrid role, or things get really busy and you're trying to find that new normal. So what I like to do is, at the end of each day, is I just write five things down. And I try and do one thing that I'm really proud of the day, that's a win for the day. Can be anything, can be work, can be home, can be I got up at my first alarm, I didn't hit snooze. And then I do 2 things that went well and 2 things that didn't go well. Because then I can look back and be like, oh, those went well, let's repeat those. And things that haven't gone well. Okay, you've tried it. There's no shame in trying something and it not working. You're looking for, the marginal gains. You don't have to reinvent the wheel and get everything right on the first time. It's if you can just find that small piece that works and build on that the next day. And if it doesn't work, so what? You've tried it for a day. It's not the end of the world.
It's like not beating yourself up over something, because we can be so hard on ourselves and we want things to always go well, and sometimes they don't, or don't work out the way you want. And to be like, you know what, that's fine. It's a really good mentality to have, and I think a lot of people don't have that because you just want things to go well, like straight away off the bat, and a lot of things you have to work at.
Yeah.
And it's really, really important to like remember that, because both at home and at work, things aren't going to go well all the time. And that's okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
You want everything to go well at home and at work, but the days where that happens are so few and far between. But take the small wins where you get them.
Yeah.
But also, if it doesn't work, hey, try again tomorrow.
Absolutely. That's a nice closing thought, isn't
Yeah.
it? There's always a next day.